a live look right now at what city leaders are calling the largest landslide they have seen. It is a mess on the ground, but the best view is from the air. Chopper 11 showing us just how enormous this landslide is. We brought this to you as breaking news early this morning.
And Peggy, with the daylight, we began to see just how big this is. Right now, the cleanup continues, and so do the safety concerns. Channel 11 News reporter Renee Kaminsky live now with how the city is handling this. Renee.
Dave, the only thing between me, my photographer, and that landslide is right here on Carson Street. As your eye travels up the hillside, you can see where the earth just gave way. Now, I'm told the worst is probably over, but the Lamont restaurant, which sits up top, and the Duquesne incline next to it is not out of the woods. We are taking you as close to the landslide as officials would allow. From the ground and in the air, from Chopper 11, the closer you get, the more alarming it looks. City officials think the worst is over, but they are keeping watch.
The slide has not progressed further up the hill this morning.
But nothing could stop 10,000 cubic yards of mud, trees, and debris which roared downhill. The muddy mess completely covered the first set of railroad tracks. Carson Street near Station Square stayed open, but officials closed the Duquesne incline as a precaution. We were there as geological engineers inspected the hillside for tension cracks. The biggest safety concern over the next few days, I'm told, will be the Duquesne incline, which reopened mid-morning, and one of Pittsburgh's landmarks, the Lamont restaurant, which was told to evacuate.
Pretty popular restaurant here in the city, and just like any other business, we want to make sure that we get them reopened as soon as we can.
Okay, again, you're looking at a live picture at the Lamont. This just in, city officials have announced they have closed the Lamont restaurant at least until Thursday. The hillside down beneath is not stable. They've detected some movement. Alan Jennings is going to have more on that at 5:30. Meantime, I can tell you there's at least a dozen engineers from the Lamont, from the city, here inspecting this site. I'll tell you some of the warning signs they are watching for. That's new at 6. Reporting live along Carson Street, I'm Renee Kaminsky, Channel 11 News.
Hey, Renee, thanks very much. And that live report showing us this is pretty serious. It may be one of the biggest, but certainly not the first landslide in the Mount Washington area. Over the past few years, we've reported on numerous slides along the P.J. McArdle roadway, which is just slightly east from the slide today. Well, the worst of those, let's take a look now, was in 2012 when the road had to be completely closed so the city crews could make repairs, even build a wall along the hillside there. Our coverage of the slide will continue in our next half hour on Channel 11 News with more of the concerns up above. And Channel 11 News reporter Alan Jennings is at the Lamont restaurant there with the safety inspectors.
Chopper 11 live over Carson Street to show you just how big that landslide is. In fact, the largest ever on Mount Washington.
And that's saying something, Peggy. The hillside gave way around 5 this morning. The situation still developing at this hour. Here now is the latest for you. Trains are stopped. That's how big this is. Heavy equipment has been brought in to clear the tracks along Carson Street. City leaders say it looks like the worst is over, but the Duquesne incline could be in danger. And as a precaution, the Lamont restaurant up on top remains closed tonight. Channel 11's Alan Jennings continues our live Team 11 coverage from the top Mount Washington. Alan.
Hey, David, the Lamont restaurant, we're live here on Grandview Avenue, the landmark restaurant. Every view in the house, everyone knows it has this spectacular view of the city. Tonight, it's closed for the first time in a long time, closed by city engineers. And some of the folks that live up here today told me the landslide is making them a little nervous.
Of course, yeah, it did this morning, but everyone said we'll be fine.
Katie's condo sits a stone's throw from the Lamont. Just below the landmark restaurant is where the slide occurred. Engineers were called in today to the restaurant to make sure it's safe. We spotted them leaving, but they weren't very talkative. So how's it looking there? Photographer Chris Majeski hopped on board the Duquesne incline to shoot a group of city engineers. They were scaling the hillside, checking for signs of instability. Katie Lupo's confidence, though, isn't shared by everyone here.
Seems like the whole hillside's pretty unstable. Although at the further end, they've done a good job of kind of refurbishing with wildlife and trees.
That's where John Ward lives, the other side of Grandview, and he's thankful. No one at the Lamont wanted to talk on camera, but we were able to shoot these pictures to show you the slide from the main dining room. This is a partial view from Katie Lupo's back windows. She declares, though, she's brave, not afraid.
You're pretty comfortable right now?
Yeah.
Because you're right on the edge too, are you?
Yeah, it looks, I mean, ours looks a little flatter than as steep down as I think it is over there, so I think we're okay.
So maybe just a little nervous. Tonight, the city engineers have issued a statement. I want to read it to you. It says, no damage to the building, meaning the Lamont building, or its foundation. The ground at the site of the slide still shows some signs of movement, and that's what engineers are concerned about. So the closing of the restaurant is, of course, a safety precaution. They're going to review and reevaluate things tomorrow, but it's going to be closed, we understand, by city engineers till at least Thursday. Live on Grandview, Alan Jennings, Channel 11 News.
All right, Alan, we're covering every angle of this big story. Look for updates throughout the night on WPXI.com, our WPXI TV Facebook page, and Twitter as well. And our coverage continues here at 6 on Channel 11. We'll continue, and we'll be back with Channel 11's Renee Kaminsky on the cleanup efforts. Tonight's big story in Pittsburgh, the largest landslide ever on Mount Washington. Right now, repairs still underway. Let's take a live look from Chopper 11 where you can see just how wide the affected area is. The first report of this slide came in just before 5 a.m. We had it for you moments later on Channel 11's Morning News. And tonight, Renee Kaminsky live on Carson Street to show you the view from the ground. And Renee, what's happened in the last 30 minutes there?
Dave, I can tell you that public safety officials are saying that there has been a slight change, that the movement, the ground beneath it, the original slide up there, continues to show some signs of instability, and that is why the Lamont restaurant up top is going to remain closed, at least for the time being. Tonight, the priority is to keep their eyes, for public safety officials, to keep their eyes on that hillside, get some of those railroad tracks back open. Now, we can tell you, because we've been here all day, the heavy equipment is working at the base of the slide, removing and then hauling away what officials estimate is about 10,000 cubic yards of mud, trees, and debris. The debris is on the eastbound set of railroad tracks, and that stretch is about a football field long. Geological engineers, they say spring rains on top of an already weathered foundation of soil that contains a lot of clay has caused this slide. Now, engineers are on site here. They're looking for tension cracks, a sure sign that a slide is imminent.
What we want to do is come up with a consensus, because each person has their own set of eyes, and we want to take advantage of all the experts who are looking at this in order to come up with the proper immediate action.
Okay, tonight, right now, the Duquesne Incline is open, and although there is no damage they can tell to the restaurant itself, the Lamont, we are told, will remain closed for the time being, possibly at least until Thursday. Reporting live along Carson Street, that's the very latest. I'm Renee Kaminsky, Channel 11 News.